Ain't no half stepping. Marcus J, live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. We are back. Thank y'all to everybody who is rocking with us tonight as we progress throughout the show tonight. As we, we do the flagship show, Legacy Internet Radio, right here in the Den every single Monday night. We're talking about the election cycle. We know tomorrow is election day, but there's one thing that I gotta make sure that I do before I get into any more discussion. I need to introduce who just walked in during that last break. She is our sister. She's a singer. She's a songwriter. She's a rapper.
Yeah.
She's a producer. And she is a dope-ass entrepreneur. Our sister, the songbird singer Jody Smith, is up in this joint.
Hey, y'all. What's going on? Wagwan, baby.
Wagwan. What's happening,
Yeah,
man?
I feel good, man. Real good.
You feel better?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
man. I was my post sugar over here, comedian. That's listen piece sound like just the snot box is full, baby. Mine was full a couple days ago,
Oh, so
baby.
you know how she feeling.
I know how it feel. I mean, I'm 90%. I got a little chest situation, but
Oh, my
you ought to
goodness.
hear when she inhale, bless her heart. She pretty though. She beautiful.
Yes. We got a couple of hits in social media I need to get to. My brother Mike was checking us out there in the last segment. Shout out to my brother Mike. Also, our sister Melanie in the Shy was checking us out as well. I want to get back to the election cycle. Before I do that, Jody, I want to get to some stuff that you're doing. You got a couple of things going on real quick. Tell us about what you got with JMM Music. It's about a year since it dropped, since you came here and you told us about it. It's about a year since this CD
it's
dropped.
been about a year, and it is going well. I mean, I'm still selling them, and JMM is a classic, man. That stands for Jody Music Mixtape. You can get the physical copy or do the digital download via PayPal. But what I have, and it's 23 tracks, a variety of music genres. I sing, I rap, do it all. But anyway, what I have coming up. I just dropped a video literally yesterday. Y'all gotta check that out. Go to YouTube. My YouTube channel is Jody Smith Music. Jody Smith Music.
Can't mess that up.
You can't mess that up. Jody Smith Music, just like how it sounds. And the video was called Riding Round. I just dropped it yesterday. It's so dope. It's so controversially dope. And I just like, if a video can make you feel some type of way, that's a success. Something that makes you feel nothing is nothing.
Yeah.
So, man, I hope you love it. It's called Riding Round. My bestie, Amore J Photography, shot and directed it for me. I had some guest appearances by my siblings and my fiance and the host of JMM, that's Earl Wizzy Jones. Shout out to E as well. Shout out Rhythm Shack and Spade and all that. So check that out. I have a show coming up on the 12th at Taste at Infusion, just off Roseneath Road. It's only about 7 beans to get in there. And the show starts, and I was looking that up before you asked me. The show starts at 7:30. So come check that out. And it's not just a show with me and a whole bunch of other artists. It's only me and 2 other artists. I'm doing 2 30-minute sets. So I'm fitting to kill it. I don't know who else is going to be doing a show with me, but I hope for them that they're before me. Because I'm a show closer type performer. If anybody's ever seen me perform, I jump on tables.
Yes, you tell people
I may
shit.
take some things off. You never know what's going to happen. I dance, so,
I've been in the building. I seen you perform, and let's just say I'm glad that I didn't have plastic on my couch where your heel will go through the plastic and tear up my stuff.
Yeah, man, I get my patty on, kick shoes off and whatnot.
But let me tell you one thing that's funny about her. The event that we actually went to, and she actually started jumping up and down on these people's couches. After she does her whole song, which was about 3 minutes, after she's done, she said, "Oh my God, was I really jumping on these people's couches?" I was like,
She
that
blacked
means
out.
she was
I
somewhere
blacked
else.
out, man. I
Exactly.
get the
So
spirit, baby.
watch your stuff.
She black, yeah.
I
she
catch
blacked
Move
out.
your furniture.
Yes, but once again, that show will be on the 12th At Taste, at Infusions in Richmond, Virginia. It's off of Roseneath Road, okay? $7 cover charge. The show starts at 7:30. I'm doing 2 30-minute sets. There's another talented young lady who plays the guitar. She does her acoustic thing. She's doing 2 30-minute sets as well. And it's another dope singer named Free. She'll be, I think, handling the intermission and keeping the party going while we get our rest on.
Yeah, that's
so come
dope.
check it out, man. We're gonna put on a dope show. It's a lounge type atmosphere, so it ain't gonna be no hoodness, no white beaters and baggy jeans. It's a mature. When I say mature, it's an elevated crowd. I take that back because there's some young cats in there too. They just ain't ghetto-wise. So, we ain't gonna scare you out the place. Come through. It's a very nice atmosphere. They got dope food, very good food, great drinks. And it's a nice atmosphere. I love the lighting, it's just a cool atmosphere.
So I guess I can't rock my Timbs and Yankees fitted.
You can definitely rock your Timbs and Yankees fitted.
Word?
Yeah, you can
I've
definitely.
been there before, Marcus.
When I said the whole thing about the dress code, there is no dress code. I was just saying what type of crowd will be there.
I just got to carry myself with a level of decorum.
You know what I'm saying? You have some sense, baby.
There you go.
Leave the wife love at home.
Ain't no hashtag
Ain't no
with Marcus
Crips and
J.
Bloods coming up in there.
Ain't no hashtag with Marcus J. Live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. All right. I'm going to have our sister Jody Smith kind of give some more information on what she's doing. I may actually have her go back through all of that again later throughout the show for anybody that actually missed it. But what I want to do, I want to get back to the discussion that we were having in the last segment. We're talking about election 2016, Jody. Everybody had an opportunity to kind of give their opening statement, for lack of a better term, on how they feel about the current election cycle. And so give me what your thoughts are, since you got the floor right now. What's your thoughts? Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump?
We're doomed, y'all. We are all doomed. I'm sorry. Everybody got a voice? That's my opinion. I feel like no matter how it goes as far as the president that's chosen, we're going to be led into the Third World War regardless. Just my personal opinion, seriously. I mean, it's a shame that that's my choice between a chick that I don't want in office and a psycho. And at the end of the day, I don't know how true it is. I guess it is true. So many people said it's the electoral college that has the final say anyway. So
constitutionally, it's in
the
Constitution.
How retarded is that if everybody goes out and vote and it's up to a group of 12 people?
Right.
How retarded is that? So anyway, I'm gonna go and vote anyway because my people's died for it. So I'm gonna go out of respect for them. But I feel like we're doomed regardless.
It's in the Constitution, and I don't know the wording verbatim, but it's written in the Constitution where the Electoral College ultimately makes the final decision. The way it actually works is the people vote, and based upon the people's vote in the individual states, let's say for example, Virginia gives you 10 Electoral College votes, and 100 people vote, and it's 51-49 Donald Trump. Well, those 10 Electoral College votes will all go to Donald Trump because he won the majority. That's how it works. And once you get to 270, that is how you win the presidency. It was done this way to make sure that there was some. Oh, and this part's my opinion. The first part I gave you is the way it works. This part's my opinion. It was done that way to make the people feel like they got the power, but to make sure that the power resided with the people who want to make sure. And this ain't something that's new. It's constitutional, and it's not amendment constitutional, meaning they wrote that shit in when they wrote the original Constitution.
Yeah.
You know what I personally...
Yes. Yeah.
But
You just greatly explain how the process goes. Me personally, I think that's not how it goes. I think that the Electoral College already has an agenda on who they want to win. So say if the people vote their way, then okay, they'll let the people have it. But what if we don't vote their way? That's when they're gonna step in and let's do this.
That's how you got Barack Obama.
That's how I feel like it is.
No, but that's how you got Barack Obama.
That already happened. That already happened.
If we don't vote their way, then they will sway.
Well, yeah, see, the thing,
you
but if they sway, what can happen is they put themselves on a chopping block where they will lose their job.
Yes.
Really? Who gonna fire them?
Because they're voted officials.
Who gonna fire them?
Well, it's just like people in Congress and stuff. They're voted in officials.
Do people get fired from Congress?
No, they just don't get revoted in.
See?
Yeah, I mean that's
So you got to wait for them to finish their term.
So they
Exactly.
don't get fired. You know, they still get their check.
But their term is always in the middle. So like it's always that second year in the middle of a presidency. Mm-hmm. So let's say Virginia, let's say we voted blue, but we went red. All right, we got you. 2 years later, y'all out, and we'll put somebody else in there.
And that happens, and that is a real thing because the thing is, we often play checkers when these people playing chess. Like they're thinking way ahead.
Yeah, like they
and so
already know what's gonna happen.
there's a Bernie Sanders supporter who is an electoral college voter who's already said that it doesn't matter what the will of the people is. He's not going to cast his electoral college vote for Hillary Clinton. So I can't remember what state he's in. Let's say, for example, it's Virginia. Like I said a minute ago, it's 10. Well, guess what? She's only going to get 9 now. And so we have to be aware of that. Now, there is consequences, like Ruben said, because they could be removed from their position as an election official. That's on the back end. But on the front end, there's a financial fine. I believe it's like $1,000.
$1,000.
It's like $1,000, which is nothing.
They find football players more for doing the dance on the field.
It's nothing for some people, but that is the penalty.
Yeah.
Mr. 3375.
That's crazy. $1,000.
You was gonna say?
And we talking about the presidency.
Right.
When they find a football player more for doing the
But
dance.
I will
like, that's
say,
stupid
but
to
I'm
me.
sorry,
Who are
Mr.
they?
3375.
Who are those people?
Who are those? Well, the electoral.
Nobody knows.
A lot of the electoral college mostly are elected officials. That's your mayors and your council people, and your those are your These are the people who make up the electoral college. Right. And so this goes back to what we said earlier, Tavon, when we were talking about what's important and which elections are important.
Right.
We're talking about you got to vote locally for your mayor, preferably not for pedophiles. But we got to vote preferably. You got to vote for your mayors and you got to vote for your congressmen and your council people. No, not congressmen. I'm sorry, your council people and all that kind of stuff. Because these are the people who
can put in a vote in the electoral college.
Put in their vote.
I mean, because it's not if we've noticed, to take it back in the past, the last 2 presidencies, Virginia has been blue. Historically, we are a red state.
Yeah.
However, at that point in time, 8 years ago, we also had a Republican governor.
We always have Republican governors.
Except now. We have a Democrat.
but yeah.
So,
except for Tim Kaine. Yeah, Tim Kaine.
Tim Kaine and Democrat. What's the dude named McAuliffe now? Yeah.
Yeah, it's always been some different.
They flip-flop.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's just one of those things where, yes, we need to vote because we need to basically force them to vote the way we want. Because if they don't vote the way we want, we're going to find out. And then they got like 2 years left.
Here's something I want you to address, Big Rule, because something that you just said reminded me of a conversation that we had on Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J. around this time in 2012. Because we know we've been on the air since December of 2011. Yeah. And so in the fall of 2012, when we were on the website we used to be on, it was during Barack Obama's his second march towards the White House. And you, in your segment, we didn't call it the round table then. We call it that now. I can't remember what we used to call it back then.
I don't know.
But during your segment, you had done a study on the intellectual prowess of the electorate. And when we talk about Virginia being a blue state now, when it used to be a red state, a lot of that has to do with where the smart people reside. And I want to finish this point, but I want you to jump in here because you did this. We know in the DMV area, the Northern Virginia, D.C., Maryland area, that's an area that's known for having the very smart people. I think Seattle is the smartest city in the country, but that area is way up there. Smart people, for the most part, vote Democratic. They just do, by education. The least educated people, the rural people, translation.
Trump supporters?
Translation, uneducated white folk versus uber rich white folk are the ones who vote Republican. So pick up there and tell us a little bit about that study that you did 4 years ago.
Now, what happened basically was after his first term, someone did a study based on how the votes were done and by states. Because, as you know, in both elections, he pretty much destroyed both people. The second one greater than the first. But what it basically came out with, there's a reason why California is a blue state, because a lot of intelligent people over there. Up north are mostly blue states because the IQ is somewhere around 100 and higher. And normally they vote Democratic, whereas those states with the average IQ of 95 and lower are mostly, they vote Republican, except for a couple. Back in 2004, this is the first one I pulled up, Oregon, Michigan are 9-9 respectively, and they voted blue. But Virginia is actually the only state in 2004 with an average IQ of 100 of all their voters who voted red. Everybody else who was 100 or higher voted blue. Hence, at this point in time, that was John Kerry. That was John Kerry's election. And what Bush did, I mean, he catered to those people who had an IQ lower than 100, which is your Mississippi, your Utah, your Idaho, New Mexico, to name a few, North Carolina, West Virginia. A lot of the swing states, Ohio, a lot of those swing states at that time, their IQ was under 100.
What was the least educated state?
The least educated state in 2004 was Mississippi. I believe in 2012 it was Kentucky.
I think it was Kentucky because I remember saying that.
Where did Indiana rank?
In 2004, Indiana ranked 31st, 94. I mean, the lowest was 85, but 94, I mean, And Indy.
So how they get these numbers?
Well, basically, when you're a voter, they know if you went to high school, college, that sort of thing.
It's poll. A lot of it is poll.
Okay,
and it's poll driven. Okay. And they basically say, okay, if you went to high school, you get so many points and all that stuff. And it's a rough estimate. It's not like spot on, but it's a rough estimate.
Okay.
I mean, and one of the big things with both terms with Obama was pretty much any state over 100 voted blue, and then he was able to pull some states that were under 100, such as Florida. I think one year he pulled Florida, New Mexico, some of those. But mostly, that's why Hillary is important, because the Clintons usually do well in the South. They're from Arkansas.
Right.
So they do well in the South anyway. And that's why, in my opinion, what Trump did is he targeted the South first. He basically did what Barack Obama did opposite. Back in the day, Barack Obama basically went, hey, black people, we need to vote. And he did the same thing with poor white people. Hey, you need to vote.
Here's we getting a comment from our sister Melanie. Melanie says, say that whatever your name is that brought up the Congress part. I guess that's me. You all need to watch House of Cards. It gives you a lot of insight into what goes on along with the false, exaggerated stuff. These folks don't put stuff on TV that hasn't been done or will be done. I remember the first time I remembered that or thought about that was when I saw Enemy of the State, the Will Smith movie from 1994 or 5 or whatever year that was, when they are watching you through the cable box.
Right.
And I was like, yo, and I had read or heard back then, because we weren't doing the internet back then, so we had the old school research stuff, but I had heard back then that any stuff that you saw like that was 10 years old. The technology was 10 years old by the time it made it into a movie.
I believe it.
And so you talking about the mid 90s?
Mid-90s.
So they could have done that kind of stuff 10 years earlier. And you also keep in mind, if they can tap a phone in 1960 to listen to what Malcolm and Martin is doing, you can only imagine what they can do.
But no, even though this is kind of like off, but have you all seen the Will Smith movie, I, Robot?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like that stuff. Yeah, like
That's
crazy.
That's real.
Like,
the Bionic woman
but
came
look-
out like in the 70s.
But look, then check this out. I
you're
mean, they go back cartoon wise. That's like the Jetsons. You know, now we about to get cars that we could just talk to and tell them how to start up and back up. Now we got the TVs where we just say turn the channel 8. You know what I'm saying?
I
We
wasn't
got
feeling the
lazy
Jetsons though. Wasn't no
I'm
black
just
people on
saying.
it.
But, my bad, sorry.
There
you
wasn't no
gotta-
black people in the future.
Really?
But let me tell you something else real quick that I noticed some lazy people do, and I noticed my lazy friend does this. Like, I noticed that people talking to their phones now to send text messages and look stuff up.
I do that. I ain't gonna lie. I do that.
I do that.
Lazy.
I be on the phone.
Guilty. Guilty.
Matter
I do that when I'm on the
Matter of
phone.
fact,
Guilty.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I done synced my phone to my car.
Yeah,
So I
and
just be like, hello.
Not to make it about movies at all. I can't think of the name of it, but the joint with Tom Cruise when he is a part of the crime division with a 4C crime. I can't think of the
they made
name
a
of
movie.
it.
They made a TV show
Yeah,
out
Right.
of that.
terrible.
You saw how they were scanning their eyes, and you could
Yeah.
see. I mean,
Yeah.
they look at the camera and. They are
Yeah.
admitted
I
because they
was
can
on the
recognize
other
their
day,
name,
too.
their social security number, birthday, all of that just by scanning their eyes.
All
Now-
I'm saying
now-
is, y'all want to know what's about to happen, just watch The Simpsons.
Word.
You're
You're
Like,
right.
wasn't
You're right.
9/11 all over the
Every-
You
Simpsons?
know what? They predicted Donald Trump
They
to run for
predicted
president.
They
They did.
predict everything.
Our brother Hakeem says, "Come on, bro, why y'all instilling fear in people? Can they
Did you
do
see
it?
my
Yes,
comment?
but has it happened once in more than 100 years?
Did you see my comment? My response to that?
I don't see it. Say it out loud. What was your? What was
He
your-
said, "Come on, man. While are y'all instilling fear? Has he not seen the candidates and their comments? I think it's the candidates instilling fear, bro. We just expressing ourselves.
Yeah, it's
I'm
scary. It's
scared
scary
of Donald
right now.
Trump.
Yeah.
I'm scared." For Hillary to be the president because what she stands for now is the exact opposite when her man was in office.
Yeah.
So I mean, she just say what she got to say. You know, just like any politician. I ain't
gonna
gonna
say,
get on her.
doesn't
About That's all politicians.
I
But
could
one
do-
thing about Donald, I feel like he's not the puppet. That's the. If I were to vote for him, it's because he's not a puppet.
That's
I
the
feel-
one. That's the one
That's
thing
the
that I.
one
That's the
thing.
one thing that I definitely
He's
agree
not
with
a
you.
puppet. Yeah, they can't control him. So I think if he were to make it, he would be murked off. Just my personal opinion,
I
because
don't-
he's not a puppet.
Now, there's
You're
one
right.
thing. There's
You're
one
right.
thing. I was with you.
He
Up,
would.
I was with you up until that point because I think.
Just my
would.
opinion.
I think no. Well, that's what we do here. I think at this point in the world and technology, at least in this country, there ain't gonna be no more assassinations of major political figures.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. The only way.
It's too difficult.
The only way I think that something like that would happen is if they get a mole that spends so much time close to them that they that close to them that's the one that does it. But if we talking about John Hinckley running up on President Reagan and stuff like that, I just don't think it'll happen. You talking about it's been 35 years since a president had that kind of fear. When Kennedy was 20 years before Reagan's attempt,
Reagan got shot.
and I think we've had presidents get, as you say, murked out. That's how they say it now. Is that
I
they
mean,
say?
that's just the way I'm saying it. But I personally feel like any president assassination is an inside job. That's
thank
just
you.
my personal
That's what I was
opinion.
gonna say.
I researched Kennedy.
That's what I was gonna say.
Maybe 2 or 3
Kennedy
days before
was.
he got assassinated, he addressed the New World Order and
Yeah.
how he was against it. And then next thing
Well,
you
that
know,
was-
him and his whole family gets murked off.
That was money. That was completely about money. The whole Kennedy thing. It was the New World Order that he was talking about, and it was also the what's the money place in
mean, it's
Kentucky?
just-
Fe-
weird
the
to me that
Federal
he
Reserve.
just-
Yeah, he was going to print up some money. He was going to take care of that
he's gonna-
situation.
Yeah, and that's the
Yeah.
reason
Right,
why
right.
he got took.
Right.
He got took out, and his brother got took out because
The whole crew.
because he was
And the
giving,
son.
he was going to change he was going to change the world. But as far as I don't think that, because when you look at what went down with Kennedy, that was with Reagan, that was just a crazy person. Like the dude literally
Ran up
is
on him.
mentally unstable. And that's the deal with that. Ain't no how step on Marcus J live from the Dan Legacy Internet Radio. 804-402-2893 is the number to dial if you want to rock with us. One more thing that I want to introduce to the discussion. Jody, I want you up first, and I want the First Lady to follow you on this.
Okay.
This one is a tough one for me,
Okay.
but I want to introduce it to the room. I am one in social media. First of all, in social media, I get randoms that come from me. I get people that I know that come from me. I get inboxed sometimes, not so much lately, but I have gotten some hate mail and all of that type stuff because I'm a person who doesn't mind sharing my opinion. I don't mind hearing yours. I don't have to agree with you, and I don't need you to agree with me.
Right.
But we've got a element in this country of a bunch of punk ass keyboard
Oh,
thugs because you don't agree with them.
Oh yeah.
A bunch of punk ass keyboard thugs
Oh, yeah.
because you don't agree with them. They decide that they want to call you out your name and say really mad, mean, and nasty things to you.
Clown.
And so the question that I'm asking, my mother and my father is checking us out, y'all, on Facebook Live. Shout out to Mama and Dad.
Hey, Mom and Dad.
How you doing on with you? What's happening?
This your baby boy. Anyway, you got a lot of people who are going to act a damn fool on Wednesday.
Yes.
And
oh
so-
Lord, I don't
so-
even want to be on Facebook Wednesday.
Well, I ain't even talking about
Okay,
that.
good.
I'm talking about elected officials talking about get your muskets and shit like that.
Oh, my God.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so what I'm asking is, so I do, man. What I'm asking is, are we going to accept the outcome, regardless of what it is, and be grown-ups, whether we like it or not,
Nope.
and move on and just deal with it? And I'm gonna say my piece last, but I want this to go around the room, ladies first.
I feel like the civil people will remain civil, people like the folks in this room. But, Trump supporters have already shown the type of people that they are when they're angry. They've shown what type of people they are when they see someone who doesn't agree with them. You see what they did to the Hillary supporters. All they did was walk into the room, a Trump rally, and you hear Trump supporting them. Get him out of here. Kick him, or, you know what I'm saying? He's amping them up. And I feel like the country, in general, people are such robots, you know what I'm saying? We can easily be controlled off of the influence that the media portrays. If they would have been pushing peace and peaceful disagreements and we can agree to disagree, I feel like people would be more under control. But I don't know. I honestly feel like the civil will remain civil, and the keyboard thugs and the go hard, don't care fans of Trump, and Hillary probably has some radicals too. They're gonna lose their minds, straight up. I think they're gonna lose their minds. This election is like none other, so I think people really gonna show their whole ass. I'm so sorry for my French, and that's just my opinion. You're gonna have some people that act accordingly, some people who will act crazy, because this year it's bringing the ugly out of people. The elegance of the presidential election is gone. The elegance that is gone.
The thrill is gone. Yeah. I honestly think, whether you want to take it as a racial way or what have you, Black people have always, dealt in, just been like, all right, we've always went along with it. We not really the ones who cause a lot of ruckus. We not the ones that bring the rah-rah. We want to be peaceful. It's not... this is not even really for us. So, yes, we're going to abide by what goes down. What are we going to do? I was telling another friend of mine the other day, where I live at in the county, a friend of mine, she works at one of the Shell gas stations. And her boss actually told her, if you don't want to come in on Wednesday, I understand. Because where it actually is that, like, the county line, and she said for the last few months, customers would just walk through the store and just say Trump, buy their stuff, and then leave.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? And he, the owner or the franchise owner of that store, he's like Indian. So of course his skin is darker than ours, and he really doesn't speak English. And I'm looking at him like, you telling her to take off from work? You better shut it down for real if you really want to be funny. If you're bullshit, seriously. Ain't no half step with Marcus J. 804-402-2893. But yes, I feel like us as Black people, we will deal. Even if it is Trump, we still got to deal with it. But like Jody said, the Trump supporters who look at the church that they burned in Mississippi and then vote Trump on the side of the church after they burn it down. Stuff has not changed. There's still people with that mentality, like, yeah, Black people are still slaves and Negroes.
It's feeling like the civil rights.
So yeah, it's. Like I said, I feel like Black people, us as a people, yes, we're gonna either way, we're gonna accept it. Other people, no. White people, no. Some white folks, not all white folks, though.
We shall overcome someday.
Everybody.
For real, though.
That's how I'm feeling, sure. That's how I'm feeling.
Either is that
Bright morning,
I think-
when this
I think everybody would, Josh.
You a damn fool.
We have 8 years of Obama. And if we can get through 8 years of Obama and the hatred that people have with Obama, no matter who's president, we'll get through this. You know, because regardless of whoever president, that's what we do as black people. We adjust to every situation. And for people that think if Trump becomes president, we're going back to picking cotton and everything is going to get segregated, it's just retarded. You know what I'm saying? It's not even going to go down like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We'll adjust, we're going to make it happen. And like I said, everything for me is going to happen on a local level. So
Let me tell you something really quick. Something that still just gets to me, and this is just to top the whole thing off, they still don't even acknowledge this man as president. I hear so many of them say Barack Obama. I'm like, man, come on. Even, I mean, I know we said George Bush a lot, but I heard President Bush more than I've heard in the 8 years that he's been in office. So again, if they can't even respect this man, and like he said in many of the debates that he's been going around saying, I tried, but they went against everything I said. They said from the beginning they weren't going to help that man. So for what, 2008 when he started? Yeah, civil rights still. Yeah. 2008.
Yeah, baby.
To the present.
My whole thing is this: the enemy has exposed themselves. You know, they've made themselves known, so we know who they are. They felt comfortable with Trump. You know, they felt comfortable with it. So if Donald doesn't get in, Lord willing, if he doesn't get in, what are you going to do Wednesday morning? What's going to be your look on the face? I mean, how's that going to play out? I mean, and if you really peeped his whole thing when he was debating Hillary, it was more so of a Barack Obama. It wasn't Hillary he was coming at. He was coming at Barack's policies. And he kept saying, well, she wants more of what Barack had. She wants more of what Barack did or what he wanted. So he wasn't really running against Hillary. He was running against Obama and his legacy. We look at it now, okay, here we are on the cusp of the biggest election in history. Once again, what are we going to do? Now, like I said on my show Saturday, I got something to say that airs 2:30 to 4:30 on Legacy Internet Radio.
Yes.
There are other candidates out there. I don't want to split hairs. I don't want to split votes. But you do have other people that are running. And now what the mainstream media is afraid of is if you vote for Jill Stein or if you vote for Gary Johnson, you're taking away from Hillary. Same thing with Bernie Sanders. He said, don't cast a vote for me, cast it for Hillary because I'm voting for Hillary. Okay, with that being said, so you kind of can pretty much tell who the general public wants Hillary. Let's be real, it's Hillary. We want the general public want Hillary in place.
And she's the chosen one.
Exactly.
For
so
this
you
cycle.
know, it's not who's elected, it's who's selected.
Yeah, she's selected.
And she's been selected because she gave up that thing for Barack a couple years back, and she was mad about that. People don't, want to recall that. They don't want to recall how she had her hurt feelings and she felt some type of way when Barack got in that office, and the things she said out her mouth, about Barack. People forget that. You got short-term memory.
I ain't forget.
So I mean, it's coming full circle now.
She's a nasty woman.
There you go.
I mean,
So
right.
Donald told you. Donald told you she's a nasty woman. Okay, so here we are now. What are we going to do?
Lord.
Let your conscience be your guide. I mean, some say I'm not voting. I'm not even going to participate. I'm not going to partake. For those that say that, let me just put you on the game. Our people, African Americans, Americans of African descent, we've been here. We've built this country on our backs, our ancestors. If it wasn't for us, there would be no them. They wouldn't have what they have right now. So when you say, I'm not going to do it, no. Your great-grandmother, your great-grandfather, your great-uncle, auntie, whoever it may be, this is something that they cherished. This is something that meant so much to them to be able to cast a vote. Whether it's counted in or not, you owe it to them. Not only them, but to yourself as a human being, as an adult of age, to say, I got something to say. My voice matters.
can I take 2 seconds to make light of the situation? 2 seconds, 2 seconds. I wouldn't be surprised if at any moment Hillary come out and say, gotcha, niggas. Trump been working for me the whole time. Oh, sorry. She would say that too. I'm sorry. She would say that. Oh, I know you ain't looking at me crazy after we heard all them French words. Whatever. Yes, I said it. Trump been working for Hillary the whole time. Whatever. We've been saying damn shit and all that other stuff. We said it. Was I the only one that heard it? Damn word. I heard French words.
All right. Got to follow that up. That's hard. I expect something completely different tomorrow than most people. I expect nothing to happen. I expect everything to be calm and clear, and I think Hillary's going to destroy him. I don't think it's going to be close. I think it's funny when people talk about these polls, especially Fox News, who just dreams up polls all day. It's one of those things where they talk about polls. And for each one, when President Obama ran, he was close. It's 45, 35, and whatever. This time, they expected it to be real close. They expected it to be like Hillary 45 and Trump 42. I would not be shocked if it's a 70-30 split. I mean, I don't expect Trump to do well. He'll get some of the South, but in all realism, Hillary owns the South. He will not get Florida. He will get Florida. Texas, who knows? He'll get Kentucky. He'll get Tennessee. Anything of any major value, he will not get. Once again, I also predict that Virginia will go blue. I think the streak's going to go for 3 years. So I don't expect anything. I expect a whole lot of excuses from Donald Trump. And I expect that we'll have a new president, first woman president ever in the United States.
And, it's kind of crazy because my nephew, he's actually in the military. And right now he's stationed in Oklahoma, and he's scheduled to go to Kuwait in December. And when I talked to him a few weeks ago, I was like, okay, so who should I vote for to keep the military safe? Like, I said, who is the worst person to be in the White House? And he said Hillary. And I'm like, really? And I said, so are you telling me that I need to vote for Trump? And he was like, no, because either way, we're going to war. So it's like, it's up in the air. And I just sat there and I'm like, wow. So I'm thinking about my nephew and all the people who are fighting. So, like, what do you do? What do you do?
Well, one thing I've heard a lot of from the Republican side is, vote for me, Republican, to keep our military, get our military stronger. I thought we had the strongest military in the world anyway, which kind of bothers me. When did we get a perception that our military was weak? I don't remember having that perception. And I think it's interesting that some people want to convey that perception on the United States citizens, because if we were weak, we would have been taken over by now. We're not weak. We're the strongest in the world. That's why nobody really messes with us. And I think it's interesting that they use that, and I've heard a lot of people who deal in the military who say, yeah, with a Democrat in power, the military gets cut. And I'm just like, from where?
And I have Stephen Marcus J live from the Dan Legacy Internet Radio. 804-402-2893 is the number to dial to rock with us. I'll take the final word in this segment. I think that we should be, a lot of people give me grief. They won't call me a conspiracy theorist and all that stuff. I'm just like, whatever. I mean, I analyze based upon the information that I have, and I make my statements in my opinions. One of the things that I've found very curious about how the current election cycle, as well as how politics have gone over the last, I'd say 4 decades, is you've had a Bush or a Clinton that's either in the White House or very close to the White House for pretty much the last 40 years. When you look at George Bush Sr., being a CIA agent, and then you had, or the head of the CIA actually, and then you had him as the vice president, and then the president, and then Bill Clinton, and then, you know, obviously Hillary Clinton and all of that kind of stuff. And I think that that's something that is worth kind of laying on the table. I'll just kind of say it like that. You know, for those folks who think you're a conspiracy theorist for bringing that kind of stuff up, hey, man, maybe I am. But I'm at least thinking outside of the box and trying to understand why we continue to beat our heads on the walls with the same elected officials. In 2016, we literally are fighting over two 70-year-olds to lead the country. I can't imagine that we don't have some really sharp and intelligent and smart and non-white, very viable candidates. But here we are with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
Ain't that a shame?
It is. And
is.
And it is. And, you know, a few months ago on this show, I endorsed Gary Johnson for president. I'm a little bit embarrassed by that endorsement. I think that anybody who is a grown-up can admit when they took a wrong step. And, you know, this is my admission of a wrong step and a recension of that endorsement.
Is it because he had a fake heart attack? Did he have a heart attack?
That was just it was before that.
You talking about that video?
The video that we watched here in studio earlier this evening, and you know, every time he opens up his mouth, he shows you how unready he is. So it's just, you know, when you look at, you know, I guess anybody could get themselves ready. You know, Donald Trump is not somebody who I thought would be viable at this point, but he's here. You know, I guess if Gary Johnson had the, you know, money in the machine behind him, you know, maybe things would be different. When we really are posed with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton as the likely next presidents, you know, I said before, I heard this analogy that when it's time to put your money on a Super Bowl, your team's not in the game. You don't want to put your money on your team if they're not in the game.
Right.
You know, as a New York Giants fan, if the Super Bowl is going to be comprised of the Cowboys and the Patriots, then I need to put my money on one of those two teams. Mm-hmm. I can't put money on the Giants. If I put money on the Giants, I know I will lose.
Right.
There's no way that I'm going to win. If I have any chance to win, I'm going to need to choose the Cowboys or the Patriots. I use those two teams because, in my opinion, they're the most likely to go to the next Super Bowl in 2017. But in all seriousness, that's where we are. And so tomorrow, when we go to the polls, we make this decision. And then on Wednesday, we all got to live with it. And I hope that we can live with it as grown-ups. And you know how to step on Marcus J, live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to take a walk through the Champipple room. I'm real thirsty. And then, of course, later on, we are going to have Big Rube lead us in a round table. I got my brother, Mr. 3375. I got Big Rube. I got our sister Jody Smith, the First Lady. And you know how to step on Marcus J. Live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. We'll be back in a few, y'all. Stay with us.
What's up, y'all? This is your man K-Dub. And when I'm down on 285 down in Atlanta, GA, maybe on I-64 in Newport News, Virginia, or maybe I'm in Jersey City catching that light rail headed downtown to go into NYC, I'm always plugged in to Legacy Internet Radio, listening to Ain't No Half Stepping with my man Marcus J. Check it out, y'all. Peace.
Tired of wearing that same old raggedy t-shirt to group events, civic, and work situations?